Hey, Puddins!
So we've been given our first teaser for DC's 2020 movie Birds of Prey. It will be the 8th movie in the DCEU, a direct spin-off of 2016's Suicide Squad movie, and will feature the titular all-female team of superheroines and anti-heroines. At this very moment, we know very little about it. We know the characters who will be appearing in it, but that's pretty much it. We do, however, have some thoughts about what it could mean for the DCEU going forward. Some in particular that involve a certain Dark Knight. Let's talk about how Birds of Prey could change the DCEU. First of all, the Birds of Prey movie will be a real positive step forward when it comes to putting female characters at the forefront of comic book movies. And the DCEU's willingness to do that, which started with Wonder Woman, could lead to a franchise littered with powerful female characters. Any true comic book fan would love to see the likes of Zatanna, Power Girl, Maxima, Stargirl, Hawkgirl, and Jessica Cruz kicking butt on the big screen. And this movie is another step in the right direction as far as that's concerned. The Birds of Prey themselves have countless members who could be added as their story develops going forward in the DCEU. Harley Quinn, Black Canary, and Huntress will be the founding members, with a little bit of help from Gotham City PD detective Renee Montoya. But in much the same way teams like the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy have recruited additional members in the MCU, the Birds of Prey could add the likes of Big Barda, Poison Ivy, Manhunter, Judo Master, and the incredibly powerful Black Alice to their ranks in the future. In the comics, as the Birds of Prey grew, so did their responsibilities. They went from protecting Gotham to protecting the wider world, and would be pretty awesome to see Harley Quinn and co. venturing way beyond the places we tend to associate them with. This also potentially signals a change in direction for the DCEU as far as how well known the characters they introduce are. While popular characters like Wonder Woman and Aquaman have enjoyed critical and commercial success, iconic characters like Batman and Superman have not lived up to expectations. And Warner Brothers and DC might be signaling their intention to use characters and teams who aren't so well known in mainstream popular culture. Hence the arrival of Black Canary, Huntress, and the Birds of Prey. The intention seems to mirror the success of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU, rather than their failed attempts to copy Marvel Studios' Avengers model with their frankly awful Justice League. Of course, that will all depend on how much success, both commercially and critically, Birds of Prey achieves. But from what we know so far, things are looking promising. But one of the more bold statements the Birds of Prey movie could be making is that the DCEU intends to phase out Batman completely. The opening line in the movie's synopsis reads, "Since the events of Suicide Squad, Batman has disappeared, leaving Gotham City unprotected from crime," which explains why the titular team will be going up against villains like Black Mask and Victor Zsasz, who are usually Batman villains, and that could mean a number of different things have happened to the Caped Crusader in the DCEU. The movie may take influence from other sources, and if that's the case, we've got a pretty good idea of what Batman's predicament might be. For example, in the Batman, the Brave and the Bold animated series, specifically in the 2011 episode The Mask of Matches Malone, Huntress, Black Canary, and Catwoman teamed up to restore order in Gotham when Batman developed amnesia. If that's the case in the DCEU, if it helps Ben Affleck's character to forget the initial backlash that occurred when Ben Affleck was cast as him, it can only be a good thing. In the short-lived Birds of Prey live-action TV series, which ran from late 2002 to early 2003, Batman had simply abandoned Gotham City, which was now called New Gotham City in the show. He left following the death of Selina Kyle. Given that Affleck's version of the character is an older, grizzled depiction, this could certainly be the case in the DCEU. On a more morbid note, however, the fact that there's a Birds of Prey movie coming could mean that Ben Affleck's version of Batman is dead. The formation of a new team in Gotham doesn't only suggest the possibility of Batman not being around or out of action. He could literally have been killed. We've already mentioned the fact that he hasn't exactly been the most popular character in the franchise, so the opportunity to kill him off while introducing a fresh new team of female characters might be too hard to resist for the people behind the DCEU. The dynamic in the relationship between the criminals of Gotham City and the city's protectors could also change going forward in the DCEU, thanks to the introduction of the Birds of Prey. While Batman is certainly a deterrent, Gotham's criminals know that he won't kill them. But given that the Birds of Prey have some, let's call them less morally upright members in their ranks, the city might become a much nicer place to live in with a significantly lower crime rate. On a related note, it also appears to signal the end for Jared Leto's Joker. While Leto's expected to briefly cameo in the movie, Harley Quinn is confirmed to be leaving him behind in the DCEU, so his cameo is probably a scene in which they say their goodbyes. That, and the fact that there's a non-DCEU movie being made with Joaquin Phoenix starring as the Clown Prince of Gotham, seems to suggest Warner Brothers are giving up on Leto's version of the character, as far as the DCEU is concerned, to instead focus on a solo franchise for him. All of this is merely speculation at the moment, as principal photography has only been underway on Birds of Prey for a couple of weeks, but hopefully it gives you an idea about how the movie might affect the future of the DCEU. It's undoubtedly an intriguing project. Margot Robbie was easily the most interesting part of the Suicide Squad movie, so the fact that her character will be the focal point of Birds of Prey, and the fact that Robbie is a producer suggests we're in for an enjoyable ride. We're definitely looking forward to it. It's just a shame we've got about a year before it gets its cinematic release. How do you think Birds of Prey might change the DCEU? Do you think any of what we've suggested might turn out to be true? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos just like this one. See ya!